Let's do an exercise together. We will need a paper, a pen, and a stopwatch. You can use your phone or smartwatch. Write the word multitasking in capital letters. Then, underneath each letter, place a number from 1 to 12. It should look like this. Now, pause the video, start the timer, and begin. Write down how long it took you to complete this task. Now the second stage. After each letter in the word multitasking, place a number, for example, M1, U2, and so on. Here's what you should have. Now pause the video again, start the timer, and complete the task. Now compare the results. I'm sure that the second task took longer. And that's precisely the results of multitasking. Yes, today we'll talk about multitasking. What we see in all modern job postings is the requirement for multitasking skills. Multitasking is the execution of 2-3 tasks simultaneously or rapid switching between several tasks. Can you recall this? I'm simultaneously working on the budget, writing a client email in another window, participating in a Zoom call with the colleagues, and from time to time assisting employees seeking advice or clarification throughout the day. All this simultaneously. But the thing is, our attention has a certain inertia. It requires time to concentrate on something. If you suddenly switch to something else, you'll have to start the entire cycle over. It's like pushing a heavily loaded cart. Push, stop, push, stop. You'll likely get tired quickly. The same applies to your attention if you constantly shift it. I know you're thinking, I'm different. I'm constantly working on 3 things at any given time. My son lost his toy, the rat just spilled the water, and I'm responding to the text about the daughter's basketball schedule. In reality, what happens is that we simply switch our attention quickly from one topic to another, creating the illusion that we're doing everything simultaneously. It's been nearly a century since psychologists began studying this topic. Multitasking leads to what psychologists call task switch costs, or the negative effects that come from switching from task to task. Psychologist Arthur Gersel first described the switch cost effect in 1927 in his work Mental Set and Shift. Gersel discovered that the brain's reaction time is slower when alternating between different tasks than when repeating the same tasks. This loss of time is one of many switch costs. Then, numerous researchers have explored the switch cost effect. The result is the development of several task switching paradigms, which explore the process involved in switching from one task to another. 2 main ones are the following. Task set reconfiguration. It says that when we change tasks, our brain takes time to reorganize itself for the new challenge. And the second one is task set inertia. According to this theory, switching costs occur not because our brains are preparing for the next task, but because we're still stuck in the last one. But the question is not just about time loss. The switch cost effect also, first, reduces the quality of our work. We begin to make more mistakes when switching between the tasks. Second, we remember information worse. Frequent switches and multitasking irritate our attention, leading to worse information retention. Third, leads to decision fatigue. Multitasking exhausts us and increases the likelihood of making incorrect, hasty decisions. Work on tasks sequentially. This means working on one task at a time without paying attention to anything else. It is challenging, especially if you're used to multitasking and frequently get distracted by phone notifications or calls. But fortunately or unfortunately, that's how our brain works. Give yourself room to maneuver. People often poorly estimate the time needed to complete a task. Sometimes we're off by a few hours. Schedule buffer time in your agenda, and if you manage to complete everything, you'll have a bit of a free time for a coffee or another task. Don't give in to sudden impulses. You are working on an important task, and suddenly a great idea comes to mind. Shifting your focus to think about it. Stop this process, write down the idea, and return to your main task. Remember that multitasking eventually leads to stress, dissatisfaction with your work and its results, and ultimately burnout. Rest properly. High productivity isn't possible without proper recharging. Every task requires energy to complete, and you need to know how to refill it. This is where yoga can help us with its relaxation tools. I discussed this in my other videos. During the day, take a short break, possibly right at your work desk. Concentrate on your breathing just for 5 minutes, or take a stroll around the office, or go outside for 10-15 minutes. What else does yoga help us with? In yoga, there are exercises where we work on concentration and attention. Most of us need to focus our mind on one thing at a time. It's a skill that many of us lack. Developing such a skill takes time and patience. Start with simple chores. For example, washing dishes. Completely focus on washing the dishes. Don't watch a series or listen to a podcast simultaneously. Dedicate time to each plate and cup. Be aware of it. The water, the movement of your hands. Notice how you're doing it. This is a good simple exercise that develops mindfulness and concentration skills. So if you're in multitasking mode, follow the advices from this video and subscribe to this channel.